You hear that phrase, they don't want you to know this. And you just have to know, right? Well, in the world of content creation, there's an AI secret that's just as guarded. And today, we're pulling back the curtain. But before we do, if you're into insights like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button for @BrandTechAuth. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Okay, so this is it. The single biggest challenge every single one of us faces as a creator. Every day, you're competing against millions of other videos, all fighting for a split second of attention. Your stuff gets thrown into this infinite feed that's literally designed to keep people swiping. So how on earth do you make them stop? Well, the data actually gives us a massive clue. A study by the amazing content strategist Patty Galloway found a critical number for YouTube Shorts. If you want any shot at going viral, you have to convince at least 70% of people to watch your video instead of just swiping past it. Let that sink in, 70%. That's a huge mountain to climb. And that brings us right to the front lines of what I call the 3-second war. That's it. 3 seconds. That's all you get to either win or lose a viewer's attention. The stakes are incredibly high. So what it all comes down to, really, is your hook. And listen, this isn't just some catchy opening line. It's a psychological tool built for one purpose and one purpose only, to stop the swipe. A great hook makes a promise of value or intrigue or something so entertaining that the viewer feels like they have to stick around to see it through. And this is where we get to the big secret. When I say the letters AI, I know you're probably thinking about software, algorithms, artificial intelligence. But the most powerful AI for any creator isn't that. That's right. The secret is audience intelligence. It's about getting inside the heads of your viewers, understanding human psychology, what makes people curious, what they're scared of missing out on, what makes them tick. Mastering this is what saves you hundreds of hours of just guessing. It's all about working smarter by understanding people, not just working harder with fancy tools. So let's break down the science behind this, right? The best hooks aren't just random luck. They tap into these deep, hardwired psychological triggers. They create what's called a curiosity gap, leaving out a piece of info that our brains just have to have. They hit that fear of missing out, that FOMO we all get. They use a pattern interrupt to jolt someone out of that mindless scroll. And they use social proof, making you feel like this is something everyone else is already watching. And check this out. This table shows you exactly how those triggers become actual hooks you can use. Look at that first one. They don't want you to know. Boom. Instantly, you've got conspiracy, FOMO, and curiosity all rolled into one. Or how about X versus Y? That taps right into our love of competition. I was today years old when? That's instant relatability and surprise. And of course, the classic how-to that just promises a solution to a problem. Let's just double-click on that first one, because man, it is so effective. Hooks that hint at some kind of secret knowledge are basically cautionary tales. They work because they create this immediate us versus them feeling. There's us, the people who are now in on the secret, and them, the people trying to hide it. That makes the information feel way more exclusive and important. All right, so you did it. You won the 3-second war with a killer hook. Awesome. But the battle is not over, not even close. Now you have to actually hold their attention. And that brings us to the 60-second story. And this is so important. A hook is a promise. If you make this huge, intriguing promise and then your video is just flat or unstructured, your viewer is going to feel cheated, and they will swipe away in a heartbeat. The hook gets him in the door, but it's the story that makes him stay for the party. So how in the world do you tell a great story in under a minute? Well, a creator with billions of views, Jenny Hoyas, uses this brilliantly simple 4-step framework. You start with your hook, which is really just a question. Then you take the viewer on a journey to find the answer. But, and this is the most important part, you have to add conflict. And then, at the end, you reveal the answer. This quote from her, it's everything. If everything is smooth sailing, then nobody cares. And isn't that the truth? Conflict is the engine of a story. A story without a problem to solve, without any tension, is just a boring statement of fact. It's the struggle that keeps us watching. I mean, just look at this side by side. It's so clear. I tried a recipe. It worked perfectly. The end. Okay, who cares? There's no story there at all. But watch what happens when you add a little conflict. I tried a recipe, but I was missing a key ingredient, and the store was closing in 5 minutes. All of a sudden, we have stakes. We have a goal, an obstacle, a ticking clock. Now I have to stay to see what happens. Okay, let's bring this all home. We've talked about the hook, the audience intelligence, and we've talked about the story, the conflict. Now let's put it all together into one simple, repeatable formula you can use for pretty much any video. This right here, this is the blueprint. It's your game plan. First, grab their attention in 3 seconds using a psychological trigger. Second, build a short story around that idea, but make sure it has some real conflict. Third, deliver that satisfying answer that your hook promised in the first place. And finally, keep it tight, keep it concise. This isn't just some gimmick, it's a strategy that respects your audience's time and their intelligence. So the secret of AI, audience intelligence, it's out. It's not a secret anymore. You now have the framework to stop the scroll, to hold attention, and to make content that actually connects with people. So the only question left is, what story will you tell?